Anthony, so great to have you, buddy.
Thanks, Pete.
So we've known each other quite a while now, and we've done some work together.
Yeah,
Tell us a little bit about where you are and what's happening in your life at the moment.
yeah, no, that's it. Yeah, we've known each other for a while. I probably had a bit more hair when we first met, but yeah, man, no, look, right at this moment, sitting in Ukraine, in a little town called Sumy, Sumy. So when you look at that map, it's sort of the northeast side. So I'm about 20 kilometers from the Russian border, from the front line. So yeah, so we hear a few fairly regular bombs and missiles and explosions and stuff. Yeah, so that's where I
So
am.
how long have you been there, and how long do you intend to be there in the
Yeah,
Ukraine?
yeah, good question. So I'll half a step back. I'm with Med like Med and then Air, and they do humanitarian stuff. So one of the awesome things they do is a shelter program, like housing, and obviously that was easy for my background as like a builder to step into that space. But they recognise in terms of the humanitarian skills, they were like, mate, we think you're a good guy and you've got some skills where we want, but you don't know anything about the humanitarian sector really. So they had an awesome program, like an internship. So I spent 3 months in the head office, which is in Switzerland, which sounds like a crazy place for a humanitarian place, but it's because it's close to funding and the UN and all that. And then 3 months I've been in Ukraine. So basically, like a little apprenticeship. So learning how to manage this team, learning all the ins and the outs of how all of this world works. So yeah, so
And
three
how
months in
long do
Ukraine.
they do they send you there for a set amount of time, or is it an open
Yeah, man.
thing? Or
Yeah, so there's two things which will come out later on, but so I'll finish this time at the end of this month, and then they have a space so that I could roll straight into this project management space after that, but probably because of that global funding crisis that's going on, I just need to take a short little break for about a month or so, and then we'll come back, whether it's Ukraine or South Sudan or Lebanon. They don't generally go to places that are, like palm trees blowing in the breeze, unless the palm trees are blowing down and there's chaos. So yeah, it's Afghanistan or South Sudan or Lebanon or places like that. So
yeah. So
yeah,
you're in the Ukraine now. You've been
mm,
in South America at one point. You've
mm,
been a leader of NILS, No Interest Loan
yeah,
Scheme, when we were working
yeah,
together. You were running a men's shed that was all at Tilapia Church of Christ, which is
yeah,
where
yeah,
we were working together. You've been a builder. You built
yeah,
my sleep out, did an amazing job.
yeah, yeah,
You've done all these kind of stuff. So how did you get kind of tell us a little bit about that journey and why you've
yeah.
done those different things? What's been the reason for that?
Yeah, I think for me, like Jesus, like he did, he's changed my life a lot. But I think maybe because of that practical wiring, maybe that's naturally inside of me, is just trying to bring Jesus and life together. Like for me, I see Jesus, he walks around and people are hungry and he feeds them, they're dead and he raises them to life. I haven't done that yet,
Still hope. There's
but
still hope.
I'm working on it. But just that thing of being able to go, I want to see Jesus impact people in a sense where they itch. With that comes that balance of being able to go, if someone eats a meal, or in this case they get their roof repaired, because that's as bombs go off, roofs of houses blow off, or windows get shattered, and then like it's minus 15 degrees at the moment, so you can imagine it's a bit cold. So the challenge with going, okay, well, I'm going to love these people in Jesus' name and practically help them, is that they do. They all love it and they accept it. And it's a lot of grannies and single mums and stuff like that because the husbands have gone. But they might not choose to go follow Jesus at all after that. But for me, that's that's okay. Like I'm here to love in Jesus' name. And I want people to know, like there's been lots of times that I've just prayed, like I've heard someone's story and I've gone, shit, that's bad. Like there's a God who loves you and knows you. Can I just pray? Yeah, and there's been some good stuff. But for me, just trying to bring spiritual and practical together.
Of of the people I've known and worked with, I reckon you do that better than anybody I've never known, which is why I wanted to talk to you.
Oh, thanks.
Well, I love you anyway, but I wanted to talk to you about that stuff anyway.
Yeah, no,
Step
thanks.
back a little bit. Kind of, how did you come to faith? What was the journey around that, and did that impact kind of your heart?
Yeah. So I'll do the super quick summary of it, but the key points. So my mum and dad, they fell in love with Jesus when I was pretty much born, and then my mum used to sit down with my sister and I and do like a little devotion in the morning. And I was a pain in the bum as a little kid, I was at school, primary school, and really one night when I was in year two, so I was whatever 10 years old or something, just laying in bed, based on what my mum had said through those little devotion times in the morning. I thought, I am not in a relationship with Jesus. So I remember that night just asking Jesus in. And there was a change, as much as a little chubby, fat, naughty 10-year-old boy can. There was a change. But for me, I had a mate that gave me this little brochure to go on a short-term mission trip to Zambia. And for me, that trip really just moved my relationship with God, like from my head, like into my guts, like it became something real. And for me, the first time I just saw people that were super poor, but yet I saw the contrast between people that were poor that loved Jesus and people that were poor that didn't. Like they both had nothing. They were both as poor as each other, but these people that love Jesus seemed to have something inside of them. And they both parties couldn't cover it up with their money or their resource. And for me, I just thought, I just remember thinking, Jesus really changes um, people's lives. For me, that whole thing just thought, I want to see people fall in love with Jesus. I want to see God impact them. Yeah, so that was basically those two factors caused me to fall in love with Jesus. And I think naturally, I know I'm jumping back to your previous question, but that thing for me, I started going, I want to do church planting. And then
It's
from
a fun
church
thing to
planting,
do, isn't it?
yeah, no, that's it.
If you want the things kicked out of you, go church planting.
Go to
It
church
teaches
planting.
and
Yeah,
you learn.
no, that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So maybe I've chosen the easy location with bombs dropping. Maybe, maybe that's it. Everyone goes, dude, that is a hard place to live. You got bombs
Yeah,
dropping.
maybe
Maybe,
I'm coming to the Ukraine, buddy.
yeah, maybe you should be a pastor in Australia. It's a bit harder. Yeah, man. But like a few years back, so I was married to a lovely lady, Jen, who is a lovely lady. But we one day she said, "Listen, I don't think this is working. Just in terms of just where we're at in our life and stuff." And that really caused a shift in me, just thinking, God, here I am, like I do want to follow you. And, the reality is Jen is a lovely person and I was trying to be a lovely person. It takes two to tango, but it didn't work out. And there was a moment where not a moment, it was a season where I was pretty upset and angry with Jesus going, you didn't have my back, mate. And I remember also feeling like maybe I don't have any purpose. Not that my purpose was really lined up in what I did, but it also gave a sense of direction. And I felt directionless because I didn't want to follow this God that sort of let me down. And then, yeah, through that journey, God was very patient. And I remember one night, probably 9 months through that really difficult space, just I ended up bawling my eyes out on the floor and just asking Jesus, I want to fall back in love with you. Because I'd come to that space about a week before where I thought, I don't know if I want to follow you. I don't know if you're trustworthy. And then come into that space of God coming to meet with me again. I just felt like that, the analogy of like if you're a trainer, but like imagine if you're trying to teach someone how to make coffee and and they're trying to make the milk and they spill the milk. You as the person being trained feels very upset because you're trying to do your best and you've spilt the milk everywhere. But as the trainer, they don't really care. Like it's a cup of milk. You go, mate, it's all good. And I just felt like because that season had been a really difficult thing, and I was like made some dumb stuff going on. And I just remember God being very gracious and coming like a trainer. And I'm going, I've spilt milk everywhere. It's a mess, And he's just like, it's all good. Just get up. Let's go. And I think that, we've all gone through stuff that's difficult, stuff that we've done, maybe that we go, I don't know. But just that reminder that God he's for us and he's not against us, and he has a plan. He has a plan for Jen, he has a plan for me, and he has a plan for you. That yesterday's mistakes don't close you off for tomorrow's.
They don't define us, do they?
Yeah.
God defines us, not our mistakes. And it's from grace to grace.
Yeah. I think for me, just coming to that space of just going, okay, Jesus, what do you want me to do? And going, okay, I have felt called to cross-cultural missions for a long time. And now, in a sense, I have that space. So I looked around and came across MedAir, which is like a Christian organization, but Christian in the sense that they're not seeking to plant a church. They're seeking to love people in Jesus' name and seeking to feed people medicine, shelter, water. And when it all goes bad and they have no idea what's going on, even before that, they're just like, God, we just want to ask, help us. And I thought, I want to do life with people like this.